Today we're going to talk about auto layout. Scary, I know. A lot of people get really worried about using auto layout. They feel like it's just too much for them to understand, but actually it's pretty simple. So today we're going to go step by step and walk you all the way through it. And by the end of the session, you'll be able to utilize this amazing tool and just 10x your design speed. Let's look at a basic auto layout first of all. I have these 4 letters in my canvas right now, and I'm going to just select them. I'm going to select 1, 2, 3, and 4, holding down Shift to make that selection. You can also select them from the layers panel. And what I want to do is combine them together into an auto layout. So when I have them selected in my design panel, I'll have this little section here. I'll click on plus. Now you see in the layers panel, now they're called frame 25, and you see the little icon here is the auto layout icon. I'm going to change their name to letters. And let's have a look over here in the design panel to see the different adjustments and properties that I can make for an auto layout. Now, first of all, I can choose the direction. So right now it's set to horizontal layout, but if I change it to vertical layout, you see that they'll stack one underneath the other. And remember, they all have to follow this rule. They can't break the rule. So if everyone's going horizontally, everyone's going horizontally. If everyone's going vertically, everyone's going vertically. Below that, I've got my spacing. Now, right now the horizontal spacing is 0. If I make it larger, you can see that the space between them grows. And like we said, no one can break it. Those are 33 here, 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 and here. You can adjust everything from the canvas or from the design panel as well. So you can just kind of drag it here. So we've got our spacing here. Then underneath we have some padding. Now an auto layout is basically a frame, which if you've been to my frame session, you know that frames can have properties. So let me give this a background for a second. I'm going to give the auto layout just like this purpley background, just so we can see it. And then if I add some padding, let's see what happens. I'm going to add padding on the horizontal space. I'm going to add like 10 pixels. And you see what happened now is between the first item and the edge of the auto layout, I get 10 pixels. And the same happens here on this edge. Yeah, so we've got 10 on either side and then 32 in between the items. I can do that on the vertical padding as well. Let's say add 10. There you go. Now you could do this separately, and you can do that also from the kind of canvas. You could do one side at a time if you want, but you can also do all of them at the same time. If you hover over one of the inputs and hold down Command and click in, then you see you get this kind of shape that shows you that you're doing all the padding at the same time. So I can add, let's say, 20 pixels padding all around. You can also click over here and get individual padding. You can set every side differently. I'm going to set the padding to 0 just to show you one more thing. So I hold down Command, click in, and I can get all of them at the same time. Enter. One more thing that we can do is set the alignment of the items inside of the auto layout. Now I'm going to just zoom out and show you this. If I make the auto layout bigger than the items inside, and I'm going to make the spacing between them a bit smaller too. Right now the alignment is set to top left, but if I say top right, bottom left, center, so this is allowing me to play around with where they are exactly placed within the auto layout. So like we said with auto layout, all the children have to follow its rules. So if, for example, I go over here to D and I'm selecting the D frame from the design panel, and now let's say I want to add another letter, I can just duplicate. So I'm using Command D to duplicate. And now I've got another one. I'm just going to change it here to E. And you can see that it followed the same rule. And if I keep duplicating, they will all follow that rule. They will all space themselves exactly like the others are spaced and go in the vertical direction. They can't break that. I'm going to delete a few of these. So just hold them in and delete. And one more really cool thing about auto layout is things can move inside of it. So the children can like switch places, and you can do that using your like backwards and forwards arrow keys. So I'm just going to go left right now, and you see the E is kind of traveling inside. If this was a vertical auto layout, so I'm just going to make it vertical instead of horizontal, I can't go right and left, but I can go up and down. Yeah, we're using my arrow keys. You can also just drag it and move it around. You can do that from the layers panel as well. Cool. One more really cool thing about auto layout is you have 2 different spacing modes. So right now the spacing mode is set to packed. And that means that I decide what is the spacing between each item inside of the auto layout. Right now it's set to 10, but let's say I set it to 60 or 20 or whatever. But what if I want Figma to decide that for me according to the space there is for the items to kind of move around? So if I make my auto layout just longer for a second, and right now it's set to center, but I'm going to set it to left center. So what if I want the items inside to just take up as much space as it can? You know, the rightmost ones stick to the right, the leftmost ones stick to the left, and then just distribute themselves equally. So I have another spacing mode that I can use just for that. If I go into the advanced settings over here in the 3 dots, I've got spacing modes, and you see right now it's set to packed, but I can set it to space between, and you can see what happens in that little animation. It becomes automatic. If I click on that, straight away we can see a few differences. We can see here in the kind of visual representation of it that the little rectangles aren't squished together, they're spaced out. And also over here it says auto instead of a number. And obviously the biggest change is in the canvas. You see that the spaces now just say auto, and everything has just kind of gone as furthest as it can. Rightmost stuck to the right, leftmost stuck to the left. What that means is that if the auto layout changes size and becomes smaller, that will dynamically kind of change its spacing. Do you see now why I told you that this is amazing and can just 10x your design speed? It means that you don't have to worry about it. If you don't know how big something is going to be or exactly where it's going to grow to, or if you're designing in a really dynamic environment where you keep designing for different like screen sizes or something like that, this will protect you massively. So you can swap between packed and space between in 3 different ways. First way is like we did before, you go into the advanced settings and just set it from here. Second way is using a shortcut, which is clicking into the visual alignment zone and then clicking on X on your keyboard. You have to have this box selected before you do it, so click inside and use X to toggle between. And another way, in the spacing input, you can just type auto, and that will make it automatic. There are a few more advanced settings. One of them is strokes. You can exclude the strokes from the kind of spacing. So if there's a massive stroke, it won't take up those pixels within the spacing. You can also set the canvas stacking. So if, for example, I have a negative spacing in between them, and you see that they're one on top of the other. So in the advanced settings, I can decide if the last one is on top or the first one is on top. And sometimes that's really crucial for your designs. You can also align text baselines, which means that the line that they align to is the actual text line rather than the bounding box line. Play around with these if you want to look for something really specific and see how they react differently. So we've seen how to adjust an auto layout that has multiple items inside of it. I want to show you how using an auto layout, even for just a single element, can make that element so dynamic and really protect you. If you look over here, we're just going to create a button, and we're going to do it in 2 different ways. And also at this point, I want to talk to you about how you actually add an auto layout. We saw before how you can add it from the design panel, but I also really want you to know the keyboard shortcut. Now, you know I love my keyboard shortcuts, but this one is actually essential to know. Auto layouts, like frames, can be nested inside of each other, and sometimes when you're creating a really complex thing, you need a lot of those in there. And if you have an auto layout already on there, you can't add it again from the design panel, and the only way to add another one is by using the keyboard shortcut. So it's really essential to remember it. Let's have a look at this framed bit of text over here. So right now we have a text box. We're going to pretend that this is some sort of button. So we've got a frame, and inside of it we have a label. If this label grows, and for example, it needs to say confirmation of agreement. Yeah, so you see it's not dynamic, right? I now need to set the frame to be bigger. So I'm gonna need to go inside of the frame and move it around so it contains all of that text, right? So if I use an auto layout, I would be able to protect myself because it would grow dynamically. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on that frame and just add an auto layout to it. And I'm gonna use the keyboard shortcut Shift A. Lovely. So you can see all of my properties already set here because Figma recognizes that there was already a frame there, and the frame that was there had about 29 pixels padding on the left and the right and 15 on the top and the bottom. Yeah, so we've just done that. And because we have this, if I have some text inside now, I'm going to write what I wrote before. I'm going to Command A to select everything and say confirmation of agreement. Yeah, so now you see it just grew dynamically. It's going to keep the padding on the sides and keep the padding on the top and just grow to accommodate my text. I will show you later how we can look at different resizing modes for auto layouts, but this is kind of the default of it, and it will grow to anything that's inside. And then also, if for example, I need to now add an icon or something like that, magically appeared icon, if I need to add that into my button, I can just drop it into the auto layout and you see that little blue line that appears, and I know that it's there. I can set the spacing. Let's say I want it to be 5 between the two of them, and that's okay. And I know that if the text changes, if the text now says agree, it doesn't matter. Yeah, everything just is dynamic and spaces around with it. And if the icon now needs to be after the text, I could just move it done. Now you don't have to have a frame already there to add an auto layout. You just need to select an element and then Shift A to add an auto layout onto it. So you see now I've selected this text box and I don't have auto layout in my layers panel. I don't have that section like I had before because it's not a frame. But because I'm smart and I've been watching Taya's videos, I know that I can use Shift A to add an auto layout anyway. So I'm going to Shift A and add an auto layout. Now the default auto layout is going to have 10 spacing and 10 padding on all of the sides. And that's what it did right here. And now I see it's inside of the auto layout and I can use that to my benefit and make the most out of it. Now, up till now, as promised, it's been pretty simple, right? And you can already see the amazing benefits that you can get from using auto layouts in your designs. The next bit I want to talk about is resizing in auto layouts. Now this is the part that freaks everyone out and people get really confused by this and just really flustered, but actually it's not that crazy. It's one of those things where you need to play around with it and there's a lot of like trial and error, but at the end of the day, you just need to kind of read the words that are written down and it will make sense to you. So let's dive in. So we're going to look at this resizing behavior. Right now I've got this auto layout over here and I've got 4 other auto layouts inside of it. So we've nested auto layouts inside of a larger auto layout. The black line over here is the auto layout container, as I've called it. And then we've got one called hug, one called fixed fill, one fill fix, and one fill fill. Inside of each of these auto layout, we have some text. And all of them are set to 15 pixels of padding around that text. Now, resizing behavior determines kind of how it changes in size to respond to different things that are happening. Now, the resizing modes only appear when you're inside of an auto layout, and you can see them over here in the transform section of the design panel. Let's have a look at the first one. So the first one is set to hug content. For width and height, we have 3 modes: fixed, hug, and fill. And we'll look at all of those. So the first one is set to hug content, and it's set to hug content for its width and height. And you see when it's set to that, the width and the height are grayed out, which means Figma is taking care of it and I can't actually do anything about it. Now, hug is saying, I'm going to look at my children. If it's an auto layout that has anything inside of it, it's going to look at the children inside and it's going to just hug them. Now, the reason it's not hugging the text completely is because we have this padding and it has to listen to that rule. But if this padding was 0, holding down command, clicking in to get all of them at the same time, and 0, you'll see that it just shrinks to hug the text. And if I double click inside and just change the text a little bit, you see that it grows to it. Yeah, so if it's really long or if it's really short, it's just going to hug it all the time. The next one is fixed width and fill height. So let's look at that. On the width, I'm going to select fixed width, and right away we can see that now the width is controlled by me. So I'm going to tell this box what is its width. I'm going to keep it on 119 for now, and let's look at fill height. So when I hover over fill container, straight away I get these red arrows that are kind of showing me where it's going to go. And what fill container is going to do is it's going to look at the full height that it can grow to, or the full width that it can grow to, and just do that. So let's click on fill container. Boom. Okay, so it's saying I'm going to go to the maximum capacity that I can and no one's going to stop me. The next one we're going to look at is fill width. So let's start with the height. I'm going to fix the height, and exactly like before, now I control the height and I can change it and make it bigger or smaller. I'm going to keep it on 68 for now. But what happens with fill container for the width? So right now you see that these arrows are going all the way to the edges of the auto layout, but something really interesting is going to happen. Okay, so it's not going to fill the entire auto layout, obviously, because it's got some like brothers and sisters next to it, and it has to stick to the rules that are already set for the auto layout. So in this container, in the parent auto layout, we have it set that there has to be 30 pixel difference between them. So this one that's set to fill width, it wants to fill all the way, but it knows it has rules to follow. It has to have 30 pixels, then this guy, 30 pixels, then this guy. So it's going to grow as much as it can. Let's look at the final one. So when we say fill container for height, we already know what's going to happen. It's going to fill all of it exactly like the orange one. But what's going to happen when I say fill container for the width? When I do that, look what happened. So now the green one and the yellow one have to share that space. So they're gonna have their width be really dynamic. They're gonna take up as much space as they can, which means that now the yellow one had to shrink a bit to accommodate for space for the green one. Now notice that the pink and the orange were not affected by this when it comes to width, because orange one I'm setting the width, so it doesn't care what the other ones are doing. And pink one doesn't care about anything external, it only cares about the children that are inside of it and hugging them. If I choose the parent container now and just show you what's going to happen, if I become smaller, for example, you see that green and orange are responding to that and becoming smaller because they are set to fill height, so they have less space now. But if I get to a point where I'm becoming smaller than them, look what happens. So green and orange are like, okay, I'm going to disappear because I don't have any space anymore. But again, pink only cares about what's inside of it, and yellow is fixed. So it's saying, my master, Taye, has told me that I'm 69, that I'm 68. I'm not going to change. Yeah, and we can see the same thing happen when we do it on the width. If I make it smaller, you see green and yellow have accommodated that because they're set to fill container. So they're just going to look at how much space they have, but orange and pink are not bothered. Yeah, orange is saying, I'm just fixed to this width, and pink is saying, I just care about whatever's inside of me. Now, one more thing to note is that the AutoLayout container, so the parent AutoLayout, has no padding. But if it did have padding, I'm going to hold down command and put like 20 pixels of padding, then the ones that are set to fill container are going to look at that as well. So you see how green and orange suddenly shrunk because they know that they need to keep 20 pixels of padding in between them and the edge of their container. Now, you have one of these in your exercise file, so feel free to kind of play around. What happens with these is that it requires a lot of trial and error. You just need to play around with it and get used to it. And when you're creating something that uses an auto layout or a complex auto layout that has things inside of things, just play around until you get to where you want to get to. The last thing I want to show you is absolute position. Now, absolute position is a way for the child of the auto layout to break the rules and not follow along with the spacing or care about the padding or anything like that. Over here, we have this kind of grid of these animals. We have an auto layout here called grid with set to vertical layout with auto spacing. And then we have 3 rows inside. Each row is an auto layout as well. And each row is set to horizontal layout and auto spacing. So if I take the massive container and kind of move it around, then you see that they space out dynamically. Inside of each row, I have auto layouts that are just, let's say the butterfly one, it just has some padding, and inside of it, it has a vector kind of shape of some animal. Now, let's say I have this icon over here of a crown, and I want to crown one of these animals and give it this nice little badge. Let's say I want to crown the dolphin. So if I grab it right now and I drop it into here, oh, no, that's not what I wanted. No, that's not what I wanted. No. Okay, so because there are auto layouts and auto layouts and auto layout and auto layouts, I can't actually just place this badge on top of the dolphin like I want to. So when I use absolute positioning, I basically can place an item inside of an auto layout, but it doesn't need to follow the rules. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it over here next to the dolphin, but then I'm going to turn on absolute positioning. If I go into the design panel, you can see that the X and the Y are grayed out because it's inside the auto layout, so I can't decide where it's going to go. But next to them, I have a button that says absolute position. I'm going to turn that on, and straight away you see that the X and the Y are now up to me. And if I look at it in the layers panel, now this crown, which is also an auto layout, this crown badge has these 4 little kind of corners around it, which means that it's absolute positioned. So I'm going to move it a tiny bit just to be on the corner right here. And if you're dragging it with your mouse, just make sure that it stays in the place that you want it to be inside of the design panel, so it's not jumped out of the auto layout. So I've got what I wanted, right? And it still remains dynamic. So because it's inside of the dolphin, it's going to go wherever the dolphin goes. So if I make this smaller, I make this longer, I make this wider, it's going to follow along and carry on and just kind of stays stuck to that auto layout. And that is it. In such a short session, you are now an auto layout master. Woo! I hope now you're not really scared of auto layout. We learned about the different properties of auto layout. We learned about how to add one and make it really dynamic. We learned about different resizing modes, and then finished off with absolute positioning. In the next video, we're going to create a complex auto layout card together. So I really recommend you follow along for that, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get a little ding that tells you when that video is uploaded. I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot. Please feel free to leave a comment below and let me know how you're getting on with your auto layout. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you at the next one.